I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your 3-minute cattle market update for Friday, December the 9th, where it looks like the board is taking over again on your fat cattle trade and really leading the cattle market around by its nose once again. We've been in a fundamental market with your cash markets, your real things, leading the board along for the last 6-7 weeks here, but now we've got that big basis there and pretty much all the trades falling right in with it, and your feedlots have kind of lost their leverage again, and that in turn is trickling down to your feeder cattle markets and all the way down to calves. But you look at your board here, middle of the week, live cattle futures on the February contract. Wednesday was down 27 cents, Thursday down 12, so not really doing a whole lot. But your February fats ending the day on Thursday at 110.65. Your December spot market there on Thursday late was 109.05. So that's still a pretty good basis to what the fat cattle market was last week. But once the feedlots take advantage of that basis, it's not going to be a real big one. After we get done this week, it's not going to look like. But feeder cattle, January contract, Wednesday was up 12 cents and Thursday down 37, not really doing anything either. January for Thursday ended the day at 126.60. Your fat cattle market, we really don't know what's going to happen yet here late Thursday. The one thing we do know is it's going to be lower and significantly lower. I said the last time we talked that steady would be a victory. We're not going to be anywhere close to steady. We've already had a lot of your northern plains, eastern Nebraska yards cave in at 170, which is a full $5 lower on a dress basis than last week. We haven't really had any live sales to speak of. A few coming in on your 5 area negotiated report from 110 to 112. That's just kind of some lower quality stuff cleaned up from last week based on that higher market. But we have seen some live sales in Iowa, a few of them from 106 to 107. That's at least $5 to $6 lower, and really $7 to $8 lower. But we haven't seen your Texas and Kansas feedlot sell, Oklahoma Panhandle. That's probably going to be, somewhere around that $1.11 or $12. But it's going to be a far cry from that 115, 15 and a half that we had on the high for last week. The actual weight on your average dress steer for the week ending November the 26th, which is the latest information to come out, was down 2 pounds at 916 pounds. So that's a good sign that we've gotten through some of those big cattle and we're staying pretty current on what we have for market ready supplies. Slaughter was good this week. 463,000 through Thursday, which is 1,000 more than the same time last week and 16,000 more than the same week a year ago. Look at your midweek feeder cattle auctions. We knew they were going to be lower because your early week markets were lower, but they're continuing to be lower and maybe somewhat more lower than your Monday, Tuesday sales. But on Wednesday, El Reno, Oklahoma at OKC West yards, their feeders were steady to $5 lower. Calves $5 to $8 lower, which a lot of that could be blamed on that cold spell that come in. Guys sure aren't wanting to buy any more calves now to turn out on wheat, and they've already pretty much got everything turned out that they're going to do for right now, and they're not going to fight it in the cold. They've probably got enough to take care of on the ones they've already turned out. But out of El Reno, you look on Cattle Market Central there, your bunches of 7-weight steers averaging from 128 to 134, and that's really what your 8-weight cattle were bringing last week there in El Reno, so that's sure lower. But you look at some bunches on your calves, 5-weight calves, 136 to 157, which is still not too bad really, but you're working with a lower market. Look at another Cattle Market Central market there in St. Joe Stockyards. On Wednesday, just about noon there, they had a load of 742-pound steers that bring 140. Well, just last week, they had steers weighing 100 pounds more than that, bringing 142 and a half. So that's quite a bit lower there in St. Joe Stockyards up in the Midwest too. But look at Salina, Kansas on Thursday there. Their market was similarly lower there, selling, as much as $5 lower. But one thing I thought was interesting there, if you look at your bunches of 8 to 950 pound steers, those big steers in Salina, selling from 129 and a quarter to 140 and a quarter, as those guys still continue to cling to the hope of being able to hedge off that April board because of that big $9 drop off from April to June. And that's really the only game in town, so they're really backing off of those lighter weight feeder cattle. But if you look at Salina there, one thing that was interesting is your 8 weights and your light 9 weights, which they didn't have many heavy 9 weights, but both your 9 weights actually average more than your 8 weights, and your 8 weights average more than your 6 or 7 weight steers. So that just goes to show you what a big hook that is for that April board. And once we get away from it, which we're just barely clinging to it right now, then we're definitely going to be looking at kind of a depressed market on your cattle going right into the feedlot. That's 3 minutes, and we'll talk to you next week.